Hello everybody, this is Llodg, and today I want to talk about my thoughts on the Zelda movie that's coming out in 2 years. Because Nintendo recently announced the release date, which is in the end of March 2027. So it's pretty exciting that we're coming up on it. And now we don't have any firm details on it beyond that it's a Zelda movie that's coming out during this time and it's live action. But I want to give my thoughts on what I'd like to see and how I'm optimistically excited for it because, first of all, I wish it was animated because I think an animated Zelda movie could have been amazing. And I understand the want to go live action for this movie. Like you have Game of Thrones, Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, all looked amazing in live action, and you just kind of want to chase that I guess audience for it. And I'm assuming this Legend of Zelda movie won't have the same audience as those movies, but there is going to be some overlap. So it makes sense why they're going for live action. But this movie could have looked amazing in 2D animation, whether it be Ghibli or something different, like War of the Rohirrim. I love that movie so much, partly because it's 2D animation and it looks so good. But this movie's live action, so nothing we can do about it. I would have even taken Illumination's 3D over this, but I'm sure it'll look good, but we'll move past that. And the story, I'm not sure exactly what they'll do. I think they've given a brief snippet about what it's about, and it just kind of sounds like every single Zelda game that has Link and Ganon in it, to where it's Link stopping Ganon from gaining the Triforce. There's not a lot you can really derive from that, and I'm not even sure how much of that is just speculation or if someone's actually put that out there, like the movie company's doing it. So I don't even know if that part of it is real or not. And I've seen a lot of people wonder what game they'll base this movie off of, and I'm almost wondering if they'll do kind of similar to the Mario movie, where it's not based on a specific game. Now the Mario movie's a little bit different because there's not too many Mario games that you can pick out a good story from. And the Mario movie had some totally different story, with Mario and Luigi not even being from the Mushroom Kingdom. And I hope they don't do something like that here, and I don't think they will. But it's one of my least favorite tropes in video game adaptations, where they have the main characters not be from the same world as the video game. I just don't like it. I just want to be thrown into that world and just have all the characters be living in it. But beyond that, I don't know if they'll actually do it based off of a game. I've seen a lot of people want it to be based off of Ocarina of Time, and I think ultimately Nintendo should probably base most of it off of Ocarina of Time, but I bet they'll kind of take stuff from all the games and kind of make their own Zelda, to where it's not specifically based off of this game, but there are ties to it. And I think Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, in my opinion, have the best chance of getting the most adapted from it. Now, Twilight Princess, I doubt they'll do the Twilight Realm / Link being a wolf, just because that's too much for a Zelda movie, and I think they need to play it kind of safe, to where you have Link be a human the whole time, or I guess be a Hylian the whole time. As much as I love Twilight Princess, maybe save that for another movie, I don't know. But I do kind of hope that they kind of have the same tone as Twilight Princess. It's a little bit darker. Link's always an adult, Zelda's always an adult, and I really want that to be in the movie because I don't know how well a young Link could go for a whole movie. And one of Ocarina of Time's biggest moments is when young Link and young Zelda kind of fail and Ganon's able to take over Hyrule Castle and Link has to go in time 7 years. I think that's a great moment in the games, and I would love to see that in the movie, but it's also a lot for just one movie if you want to have Link and Zelda go through this kind of littler adventure, I guess more Link, and just have Zelda have to run off and become Sheik. That's a lot for one movie, if you also want to include all the stuff 7 years later. And because Ocarina of Time, you go back and forth as young Link and adult Link, and I think that's an important part of Ocarina of Time, and I think if you just had young Link and adult Link, it would kind of lose some of that magic. So I just think that they should focus more on just having one Link, just because I think it'd be a little bit easier to write a story around it in the time frame that they're given. I've also heard that they've also signed on to do 3 movies, a whole trilogy. Now, this trilogy thing could be all speculation, so I don't know how much of it is actually gonna happen, I don't want to talk too deep into it if it just doesn't end up happening. But that makes me wonder if the first movie will kind of be left on kind of a cliffhanger, to where in the next 2 movies it kind of more wraps it up, or if this first movie, you'll have your own full plot, and then the next movie is just another sequel. If they're doing 3 movies, I may prefer it to do kind of an in-between, to where the one movie could be a one-off, potentially, but you have maybe Ganon still out there, or whatever, and you can keep going. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up really quick, because it could be important, and if they do that, then they could have young Link be a more significant part of the first movie, and the second and third are more adult Link, but I guess we'll just have to see. And I have seen some people be like, what game do you want? And I see people say Majora's Mask. And Majora's Mask is one of those games that I don't think can work for this first movie. One, because it's really different from the rest. You don't even have Zelda. And I really love Majora's Mask, but I think it works better as a sequel. And I don't know exactly how you do that in a movie, because most of the best parts of Majora's Mask are doing all the masks. And that's a lot for a movie where it's kind of similar, where you're just helping people over and over again. But I'm sure they do something like that, and Majora's Mask itself isn't necessarily very long. Like, you only have 4 dungeons, you're going through the same 3 days over and over again, and while I'd be interested to see it in a movie, I just don't think they should do it first, at the very least. But for like designs and stuff, I really do hope that they go for Twilight Princess again. That Link and Zelda are like, in my opinion, the most iconic Link and Zelda. Maybe just because those 2 designs get used in Smash games, so they're just the most recognizable ones. And I just think that they're really good designs in my opinion. Like, if you think of Link, you probably think of the Twilight Princess Link, and same for Zelda. Though in my opinion, you can't go really wrong with Zelda's design. For the most part, she's really similar in all her incarnations, so I don't think you can really go wrong, but Link, some of them are much different than the others, and I hope that they go for the green tunic. I think it'll just work really well for like marketing and all that stuff. I'd love to see that on the big screen. I won't talk about this too much because I just don't know enough actors to really be like, oh, this is who I want. But I hope that they choose good actors. Now, the Mario movie, I remember people not loving the cast when we heard it, but then in the actual Mario movie, I think they all did a really good job at being the characters, and I'm gonna hope that they do the same thing for the Zelda movie, to where I'm just gonna trust them, because ultimately I don't know anyone who could be a better cast. But yeah, I've heard people say that like Hunter Schafer could be a good Zelda because she looks like her, and like she does look like Twilight Princess Zelda, and I don't know if I've ever seen any of Hunter Schafer's previous works, so I can't like on her like level as an actress. I don't know, but she does look the part, and I do think that they should get people who look the parts of the characters, but ultimately if they're a good actor, then they should probably get the part. Also, I hope if they do a more like Twilight Princess focused like design, just give me the Ocarina of Time Ganondorf, if you are having Ganondorf in the movie, because Ocarina of Time's Ganondorf is just amazing, and make him like a wizard. So I'm sure they're going to play this story pretty safe, like you're probably going to have it be really similar to Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess, but I am curious if they are ever feeling like the need or the desire to do like Skyward Sword, since that is the first one in the Zelda timeline. And it could set up for like future movies if they want to do like whole new Links or whatever. This would probably work better if it was animated, but yeah, like you could have Demise, but I bet they're just going to do a very simple Zelda movie, and they're not going to have it be this whole different Skyward Sword, because Skyward Sword, while I love the game, is a much different Zelda game than the other ones in terms of like the setting and how everything looks. But it's also my favorite Zelda and Link relationship, so I hope that they at least take stuff from the game, though I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't want to do like any Zelda and Link romance. And I'm sure that they'll still do callbacks to those games, but we could get Fi's theme when Link gets the Master Sword, and while I'd love her to be there, she doesn't necessarily need to be a character, but maybe in the future they make her a character, I don't know. We're probably gonna get like Navi or something as like Link's guide slash like helper. I don't know if they'll actually name her like Navi or if they'll do something different. While Midna is probably my favorite character in that role, Fi or Navi would be perfect. I'm sure the music's going to be really good. The Mario music, in my opinion, was very good, and for the most part really gave us stuff from the games that was just good. And I love Zelda music, so it's going to be really nice to hear that in the movie. I could see them doing like Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom, because those are the 2 newest games. But I also hope that they really don't, just because those are, once again, a very different Zelda experience in terms of like all of Hyrule from the start is totally broken and everything sucks. But that could be an interesting movie, where Link gets his memories over the course of the movie to free Zelda from her holding Ganon. Oh, I also hope that they give us a really great Ganon design, because Ganon himself has gotta be in this movie, not just Ganondorf. Even if it is the end of the trilogy, he's gotta be there in some form. I could see them having Ganondorf be the main antagonist, but they also have like smaller antagonists. Like they could have Vaati be like a secondary antagonist, where in the first movie that's kind of who Link is up against, and then by the end of the third one you're up against Ganondorf and Ganon. That could be something to where it's not just like Ocarina of Time's bosses. And I also hope that we see a lot of the fancy races from the Zelda games in this movie. I'm sure we'll see them in the background, but I'm really hoping that they at least have some of them be prominent characters, Like, I'd love to see the Gorons, I'd love to see the Zora, even the Rito. While I don't think Rito necessarily will be here, they could be because of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. And also the Gerudo, I'm sure they'll be there because of Ganondorf, but I'd also love them to be a part of the movie. Even though they aren't necessarily like a fancy race, they are more humanoid like the Hylians. But at least the 4 of them I'd love to see in more prominent roles. And to talk about the elephant in the room, I think Link has to talk in this movie. Now, I don't want him to be like Spectacular Spider-Man where he's quipping all the time, you know? Like, you can leave that to the companion. But I think Link should be more stoic, but he still should talk, at least a little bit. Because I could just see it being a little weird, especially if it's live action. If it was animated, I think you could give it a little bit more leeway. But I don't know, I think it could look weird. And I know some people will probably not like that. It'll be the same as Master Chief taking his helmet off. But I think it just has to happen for this movie, and I think it'll be fine. And finally, I'd also like to see Dark Link in some form. I bet he's gonna be like a boss or something in the movie. Maybe not like the Twilight Princess Dark Links, where it's like kind of freaky and weird, but more of an Ocarina of Time, where it is just kind of his shadow. I think that would be cool. But yeah, I think those are all my general thoughts on the Zelda movie. I had a lot more than I thought I did. And Zelda is one of my favorite franchises and games, so I have a lot of hope for this movie, but also some reservations about it. So we'll just ultimately have to see what happens with this movie. Let me know what you think about the Zelda movie, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day, and goodbye.